Hey everyone, how are we doing? And welcome back to another epic PC build guide, and one I am so proud of today because this is not only awesome for gaming at pretty much any resolution, but I've planned it out very carefully so that you're only paying for components that give you the very best gaming performance and you're saving a load of money on stuff you don't really need. Let's start this off with the peel. Ta-da! So we're going to go through all of the components inside this build. We're going to show you roughly how to put it all together, and we're of course going to show you exactly how this thing performs with some live benchmarks to show you exactly what you're getting for your money. But first, meet the NZXT Kraken family, the smartest all-in-one CPU coolers on the planet. NZXT's Kraken X series features an RGB infinite mirror to make your PC look incredible, while top quality fans, a quiet yet effective pump, and large radiators keeps your PC running cool and quiet. Step up to the Kraken Z, however, and you'll get a fully customizable screen to show off your real-time temperatures and statistics, hordes of RGB lighting, or even your favorite GIFs. Grab yours today with the link down below. Now this build was actually all geared around a Ryzen 3600X. This is a 6-core processor. It does clock fairly highly, but the thing about it is that it sort of echoes the whole ethos of this build. It's about getting the right sort of components that's going to get the maximum gaming performance, but without spending money that you don't need to spend. And I know it's really tempting to grab yourself a Ryzen 7. It's certainly a very sensible idea. They're very reasonably priced, but it's around about £100 more than this. And I think that £100 is going to be a lot better spent on this. It is the graphics card. It is the RX 5700 XT. This is the AMD Radeon sort of reference edition. And I wouldn't actually recommend that you go for this card, assuming you can get something with a third-party cooler for around about the same price. You can probably get slightly better performance with like a pre-overclock, and then slightly better cooling with something from a manufacturer like your Asus, MSI, Gigabyte and the like. That is what I would recommend doing. But this graphics card, you will see a little bit later in the video from the benchmarks, absolutely crushes it when it comes to games. Here I was playing on this ultrawide monitor and it absolutely devoured everything I could throw at it. We're building up on this, which is the motherboard. It is the X570-A Pro. And the reason I chose this one for this build was really all because, again, it's about not spending too much money, and this is a very entry-level X570 board, so you're going to get all of the features with things like PCI Generation 4 for faster NVMe SSD storage, future graphics cards, and again, the extra £50–100 you save by going for a more budget-friendly board can be used towards something else, which in this particular instance I would say put towards the storage. An NVMe SSD might be a little bit controversial if you're just focusing on gaming performance, but this makes such a big difference to your boot speed, to your game load speed, and the fact that once you build your PC, you probably don't want to be mucking about moving your Windows install from one drive to the other, which is why I recommend that you grab one of these from the start. So this is the Samsung 970 EVO Plus. It's 1 TB, which should actually be more than enough for most gaming PCs, but obviously watch out for games like Call of Duty Warzone that take up almost 200 gig, and we'll get through one of these very quickly. Ryzen really does love fast memory though, so if you can grab yourself 16 GB of 32 or 3600 MHz RAM, I think both your CPU and your game frame rates are going to thank you. Now, I know I'm being a little bit misleading here by waving a box that says 32 GB at you, but I don't think we really need it all for this particular rig, so I'd recommend grabbing 16. Seeing if you need it for any applications you're going to be running, but for games I highly doubt you need any more. But if you do, just grab an extra 2 sticks a little bit later down the line. In terms of the cooler that we've got here, this is one from Cooler Master, and again, this is all about spending a little bit of money to better our PC, but not so much to the point where we start to get diminishing returns. This is an air cooler. It's only got one fan on it, but for this CPU, it doesn't get too hot anyway. You can overclock it a little bit if you need to, but I don't really think spending a load of money on like a 240mm radiator is really worth it, to be honest. Not for this particular rig. That's money that could be spent on a better graphics card. So I think you're really sort of sensing the theme here. Power supply wise, we're using a 650 watt unit from a company called Xilinx. It's pretty respectable. It's bronze rated. 650 watts of power is more than we're going to need for this rig and any upgrade you might decide to do. And I like the fact that it's semi-modular, so you're gaining all of the advantages of only using the cable cables that you need to. And then we do of course need to talk about this case, and I absolutely love this. This is from MSI, who don't traditionally make cases. It's quite a recent thing for them. So you see we've got mesh all down the front. There is this little bar in the middle that will restrict airflow a little bit if you decide to put an additional fan in, but nothing I would worry about. We've also got mesh all the way along the top as well. Only criticism is the fact that the back fan isn't RGB, but you can swap these out fairly easily. And actually, the combination of the case fans and the motherboard, all set to do some fan tuning, you can hear it's a very quiet system. I mean, listen to this. Pretty respectable. Now, unfortunately, this is the bit in the video where I would normally show you the build process, and don't worry, we will be doing that. But I want to let you know that I had a very, very hard time with this because my camera, or my cameras, one of them actually corrupt, and I lost all of the footage. So around about 3.5 hours of build process from the main camera angle is completely gone. And this is a recreation of what happened when I actually found out about this problem and tried to fix it. No! No! Surely not. Oh my God, it actually is gone. It actually is gone. Please be recoverable, please be recoverable. It wasn't recoverable. So the solution is actually pretty simple because I record audio separately. I did have another camera angle, so I'm going to give you the highlights of the build process where I'm actually looking in the correct direction. Otherwise you'd be looking at a whole video of me like this. Hello, welcome to another PC Centric video. This is the build. As always, we're going to start off this build by building on top of the motherboard, which means grabbing it out of our box. Our CPU does come in a very large box because it comes with a cooler, and if you do want to save yourself a little bit of money, by the way, by all means, don't buy a CPU cooler straight away because it's a bit of a pointless expense, to be honest. If you're going to have to cut something else out of your build, just use the free cooler that comes in the box. Line up our little arrow with the corresponding marker on the board. I'm feeling like a speed build here. How quickly can we do it? That noise means that this camera is about to run out of time. Can we resynchronize the camera feeds, please? So with our RAM, always remember if you're using 2 sticks to get them in the right slots, it will tell you on your motherboard, which leads us on nicely to the CPU cooler. It's pretty simple really. All we need to do is grab the AMD mounting hardware and then actually put it on the cooler so you can clamp it down. Just a couple of screws really. Then just grab your cooler and lower that down over the pins. Make sure that they fit, and then it's time to actually apply some thermal paste to the CPU and clamp it down. You really don't get many screws in this bag though. Look at this. That thing, if the camera will actually focus, this is rubbish, there you go. It is tiny, that is all you get in this case. But way more annoying is the fact that this isn't reusable. I mean, I now need to find another bag just to put the leftover screws in. Not good, MSI. As we're using a cheaper motherboard, don't forget to pop in your I/O shield in this huge hole right at the back. Then you want to grab your PC case, lie it down nice and flat, grab your motherboard, and then place this in so that all of the ports go through their respective holes, and all of those little standoffs now actually line up with the holes on the board. All very jet black. I think every single build that we're doing these days does follow a similar design. It's looking pretty smart. So to my eyes, it looks as if we've actually got an RGB controller that's built into this case. That is pretty sweet. Oh, there we go. Oh, where we have this blower style that I talked about earlier, but you can see it's a very good looking card actually. So just line it up with the slots and it just pushes in. Locating where you need to put the power supply is very simple because there's this huge gap down at the bottom. Put the fan face down, assuming your case has bottom ventilation, and then just slide it in. You know what we could do? We could use our RGB HDMI cable. I've found a use for it. I'm pretty sure this thing cost about £100 as well. Imagine paying £100 for an HDMI cable, Jesus. And turn it on. We got noise, which is good. We've got lights, we've got loads of RGB, oh, liking this. But are we actually going to get anything on screen? I don't know how this monitor works, really. Oh, we've got a red light, that's not normally a good sign. What have I done wrong? No, no. The main reason we know something's wrong is because there's this little red LED on the right hand side of the board. It says boot, which means this is sort of like failing its boot sequence. So my first port of call is just going to be to take out one of these memory sticks, just to ensure that everything is actually plugged in properly as well while I'm here. I've never trusted an HDMI cable less in my life. Next thing I'm going to try is actually taking the RAM out and swapping it with a completely different stick. This one is a lot slower. And then if this doesn't work, I will just try clearing the CMOS. That's the next step. This is a case really of trying to keep calm and working out exactly what's going on, because you can only troubleshoot so many things. And you're just trying to pinpoint exactly what the problem is. Thing is, I've used this motherboard quite a few times, so unless it's been damaged in transit or something coming to the new studio, I don't think there's a problem with it. I'm also going to try a DisplayPort cable just in case. Are you joking? Now, what is the problem? Is that either the HDMI cable? Is this really a problem with a £100 RGB HDMI cable, or is this just the chance that I've turned it on and off enough times? I can't believe this. I can't, I'm losing my mind. There you go, you see. So maybe it actually is indeed the RGB SSD. What the fudge? We do have our Ryzen 3600X, which is 6 cores, 12 threads, 16 gigabytes of memory is showing up, and then our 970 Evo Plus. So a simple system, but one that looks pretty awesome nonetheless. But I bet you guys want to know about its performance, so let's get some games on this thing and show you what it's all about. So we are getting around about the 70, 80 frames a second mark. Oh, can we actually get a kill here? That would be good, wouldn't it, if we can do that? Can we do that? Can we do that? No, because I haven't played this game in ages, but we're still there, we're still there, we're still there. Lowering down the resolution a little bit to 2580 by 1080. I don't know why you've got 20 extra pixels there, but whatever. You can see that we're getting around about 120 frames a second, which is pretty damn good stuff, to be honest. It's time then for everybody's favorite Marmite title, Fortnite. So you either love it or you hate it. And everything again cranked out to absolute max, 3440 by 1440, and we're getting around about 80 frames a second or so. Let's try it on 1080p though, and you can see immediately we're getting a much higher frame rate here. We're getting around about 120, 130 frames a second. It does fluctuate a little bit, but not too bad at all, as I actually got a kill there. I'm quite impressed. Something that isn't multiplayer, Far Cry 5, arguably the best HDR title I think I've seen on PC at the moment. And this feels fantastic actually. We're running around about 80, 85 frames a second or so. Everything again maxed out, 3440 by 1440. And this is the sort of experience that is going to make you want to get back into PC gaming if you're playing on a console, because it's just so superior. Apex Legends time, I have not played this in a while. Truth be told, I think I just played too much and got to the point where I just needed a break, but it's great to be jumping back in. I mean, look at that. We're getting around about 100 frames a second. Obviously, we are inside at the moment, but the fluctuations aren't actually too bad, to be honest, in Apex. Even outside, we're getting just under 100 frames a second. We're looking at, what, dips of 90 frames a second, but averages probably about 100, 105. Dropping down the resolution to 1440p, and we do see a fair increase. We're getting now a minimum of around about 100 frames a second, maybe just below it. So a fair old boost, 10 to 15 extra FPS I'd say on average. So there you go then. This is a really cool little computer, and one I would be really proud to actually call my own. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It really does help out so much. And as always, if you do want to see more builds like this, get yourself subscribed. And of course, for all of the parts, you can find my Amazon affiliate links listed down in the description below. And while you're down there, of course, don't forget to check out the awesome NZXT Kraken CPU Coolers. Take your PC to the next level with some serious cooling smarts, allowing you to use the very best components and keep your temperatures and acoustics in check. But why not go even further and add some crazy RGB effects to your PC with the Kraken X series, or never guess again with Kraken Z's real-time statistics? Grab your next cooler in all shapes and sizes with the links down below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my other PC builds that I'll leave in the end screen. They're just as good as this one, probably slightly better filmed, or at least better data recovered. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.